Stephen, as you know, almost never defend the poisonous Malcolm Turnbull, the former Prime Minister, but he had a point today that made Donald Trump see red. This is the point he made.
Trump does not subscribe to the same values that we have in the past shared with America. Look, he doesn't have a commitment to the international rule of law, that's obvious. Doesn't care about treaties or alliances. He's got a free trade agreement with Canada and Mexico, which he entered into, by the way. He signed it. Then he's just walked away from that.
Now, Trump then hit back, posting that Malcolm Turnbull, the former Prime Minister of Australia, was always leading that wonderful country from behind, never understood what was going on in China, nor did he have the capacity to do so. Always thought that he was a weak and ineffective leader, and obviously Australians agreed with me. Stephen, Turnbull's intervention, is that actually now going to make it even less likely that Trump is going to exempt Australia from the tariffs he said will be imposed on all steel and aluminium imports, including ours, on Wednesday?
Well, look, I think what you've got to fundamentally realise is he's attacked Canada, he's attacked Mexico, he's attacking the EU, he's attacking Australia. Australia doesn't have any more special relationship than Canada does with the US. And he has absolutely, completely torn up their free trade agreement. We have a free trade agreement with the US. We have an agreement in which they are in surplus to us. And none of that matters. So when he pretends, it's really about a trade deficit, we've got a trade surplus. He is committed to making America great again under his definition, not one that economists think will long-term work. But the point that I think you made last week is he wants to make America great again, not Australia. It's all about his economic and political narrative. And we are going to be hit and buffeted with a lot of bad policy that we thought there was a consensus on over the last 25, 30 years around economic policy, that free trade was a good thing in general. And he is ripping that playbook up. But it's not just about whether Malcolm Turnbull, who actually won the argument, I don't want to be rude to Donald Trump, but Turnbull won the argument and got the exemption. I think Trump will be determined to make sure that he is seen to be the winner in this, arm wrestle. And I fear that we'll be unsuccessful next week. I hope I'm wrong. I just fear it wouldn't matter if it was Peter Dutton, and that is not being political. He wants to be seen to win this argument, irrespective of the cost.
What I don't think he understands. What I don't think he understands is America is greater for the allies it has, and not just because they've been bullied into being his allies, but they've been inspired by the American values. That is what I think is important. News poll, Michael, 55% of people now say the coalition is not ready to govern. And yet, on the other hand, 51% would still vote for it or give it their preferences. Is this poll a bit meaningless?
It is meaningless. It's a poll you very rarely see, if ever, because it has no meaning. You start with the most important poll, which is right direction, wrong direction for the country. Does the government deserve a second term in terms of, do you want the next 3 years to be like the last 3 years, yes or no? I mean, they're the more relevant polls. So I don't think this is particularly relevant. But I think it's fair to say that as Redbridge, they've got this great quote, which is that there's a large percent of the electorate who are Dutton curious. That means they'd like to think about voting for the opposition. They're still making up their minds. And so that's why I think this campaign, Andrew, is probably going to matter more than most, because tossing out a first-term government for the first time in, 90-odd years, very rare, of course. So that's why people are thinking about, they don't like to admit they're wrong. The electorate doesn't like to say we got it badly wrong in 22. That's why most governments get a second term. People say we'll give them another go. So this is I think there is a large number of people who have not made up their mind, which is why the campaign matters. But is that poll particularly relevant? No, it's not.
Yeah. Michael Kroger, Stephen Conroy, thank you very much to you both.